And welcome to another episode of Taboo Talk Podcast, featuring your very own pastor, me, Lady Charmaine Day. Today's show is guaranteed to be full of sensitive, intimate, natural conversations rarely talked about in the spiritual community. So are you ready for your spiritual consultation? Great, let's begin. Hello, beautiful. How are you doing? Let me tell you, July is National Minority Mental Health Month. And all month long, I will be having guest stars who come on and share their lived experience, share wisdom, and share help to help you have the best life possible. Because good mental health is priceless, and you can't take that for granted. And so they come to give you their wisdom because they care about you. And let me introduce today's speakers, our guest stars. We have Clara Kiely coming back again. Yeah. And we have Ariana Locke coming on, sharing her story for the first time. And we have a super show ahead of you. So get ready, get set, and let me introduce Clara. Clara Kiely, she is the NAMI New York City Outreach Coordinator, and she's here today to share with you resources and help. Hi, Clara.
Hi, Lady Charmaine. Thank you so much for having me back. So I'm going to say a little bit about NAMI NYC. I'm the outreach coordinator there, and I'm going to say a little bit about the resources that are available, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ariana. I'm the outreach coordinator at NAMI NYC, the National Alliance on Mental Illness of New York City, which is a grassroots mental health organization. Our mission is to provide support, education, and advocacy for individuals and families living with mental illness and impacted by mental illness. That means that we have free support groups and free classes and other services for anybody that's either dealing with a mental health issue themselves or who's supporting somebody who is. I know from my own experience that getting that personal support and that having that support network of the people close to me is really important in dealing with mental health issues. And I've also been that support for other people. And I know that it can be really challenging, and it's really important for those people that are providing that support to also get support for themselves. So we have peer-led groups for people that are dealing with mental health issues, and peer-led means that they're all facilitated and taught by people who have dealt with some of those same issues. So we have a peer-to-peer class, which is taught by people who have dealt with mental health issues themselves. We have our Living with Bipolar support group, which is facilitated by people living with bipolar disorder. We also have individual groups like the young adult group or the LGBTQ plus group or Black Minds Matter, which are specifically for people that have specific identities and are also dealing with mental health issues. And each of those are facilitated by people who also share those identities and have dealt with their own mental health issues. And we also have programs and groups for family members, which are also taught and facilitated by family members. You can find out more about all of our services by going to our website, which is naminyc.org. You can also contact our helpline at 212-684-3264, or you can email us at helpline@naminyc.org. And we take calls and respond to voicemails and emails between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, from Labor Day to Memorial Day. And right now in the summer, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, our hours are 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and we have shorter hours on Friday, so it's just 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So with that, I hope that you take a look at some of the resources that are available to you through our website or by calling our helpline. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ariana. Thanks so much for listening.
So I'm talking about my intro, right? Like what okay, cool. Okay, for starters, I haven't done this in a while. I used to do this a lot a couple months ago, and then life kind of got shook up by everything that's going on in the pandemic and just being social and understanding how to have like a social connection after all this. But what I could say about myself, my name's Ariana. I played the trombone for about 8 years. I've lived in Barcelona. I've met amazing people through every walks of life. I learned, especially traveling, that smiling is like a universal language. Like I lived in France and I was like, I don't know how to say this, but I know to smile and like make sure like you understand, like I like the connection, you're really cool. So that's that. And anything else about me? My mom is Trinidadian and my dad is Belizean. So I grew up in a Caribbean household. I grew up with my mom, and living with parents who are from a different generation, growing up was a little bit different than theirs. They'd be like, oh, I walked 12 miles to school. And I'm like, oh, I took the 82 bus. But, and to think of more stuff to say about myself, I definitely feel like I can talk to trees sometimes. And that sounds weird, but I feel like I am an empath to life and to people. And I feel like it's quite beautiful. It's also quite hard because we feel things a lot more intense. I think that loving strong is like very important in my life. I keep saying that, but I also feel like it's okay to be where I am, especially like as a minority. So yeah, I hope that intro like went well, but yeah.
Nice. And now, Ariana, can you please share with us today in our own voice presentation, divided into 3 sections, what happened, what helps, and what's next? And so we can get more out of your story and learn more about you.
Okay, so just start with what happened.
Sure, please.
Okay. I also apologize if I'm doing like really bad eye contact because there's like 3 videos up. I would start my story at being a young kid. I'd say probably like 5 or 6 years old. My dad was very abusive to my mom, sexually abusive, mentally abusive. Same to me and my sister. And I had to grow up really, really fast at such a young age. And I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And I feel like, especially like in my Caribbean family, how I'm affected is that, I was diagnosed with something in 2013. I was 23 and I, heard voices in my head. And, I didn't know that manic was a thing. I didn't know that psychosis was a thing. I thought that I was like baby Jesus for a month. Like, and I know it's funny to laugh because now I can actually look back and be like, wow, like I was going through something during that time. I also feel like growing up early and then kind of blocking it out in my teen years and going for like cheerleading and entering college with a scholarship, I kind of like blocked all those things out. I never thought of it. And then once I hit college and I did anthropology and women's studies and I understand what like rape was, or there's so many different types of rape or sexual abuse or how it's happened or family members and where it comes from. I was very like taught a lot of knowledge and it kind of like opened up that egg because I'm also a survivor of rape too. And I put all that energy into my thesis, which was the anthropologic study of rape culture. And a lot of women came up to me. At first I was nervous. I was like, professor, like this is a really intense topic. Like, it's like you can have coffee and be like, hey, like want to be part of my like, intense story. And she's like, no, it's called the snowball effect. So I was like, okay, she's like, once you get someone, it keeps going. So I started meeting women and I was just like, hey, look, I'll cook for you or I'll bring wine. Don't tell anybody about wine, but, and just like talk and have conversations. And I feel like it was so powerful because after that had happened, my symptoms came out and I heard voices telling me to go to Vermont. I thought that I was gonna meet this really cool crystal person who like helps out in Vermont. I thought they knew me. And I know it sounds like exciting and cool, but then when I got off the bus, there was a hospital and I had talked to them and they were saying like, oh, like you've been through a lot, you just graduated, you're a survivor, you went through some of your childhood. So my mom got me the next day. That's when I started going to a psychiatrist. And it was really hard because I didn't want to take meds, or I was tired all the time, or like I gained like 100 pounds in 10 years. And I learned that, yes, it's tough and it's difficult because my form is changing, my shape is changing, my mind is changing, and trying to hold space for my inner child and who I am, and also holding space for my sister and my mom. Um, so that was very a growth process. I would definitely say what had happened the most that had affected me throughout my whole life was feeling like the weird one, or like, my family, they ignored my symptoms, they ignored who I was. And if it was like intense, they'd be like, oh, like, they talk poorly of me, or be like, go to church, like pray. And honestly, I had to do it all on my own, and especially help with meds and psychiatry. But at the same time, like, it was my own journey. So it took about 8 years to find the right meds and the right person. And it turns out that I was more schizoaffective than bipolar. So I never really had mood swings, but if I heard voices, then my mood would change. And if a voice is like, you're gonna die, I'm like, oh my God, what? So like, so that had affected me in like a really strong way. And it's just really funny because it took 8 years to find out. And yeah, I'm sorry, I can't think of anything else to say, but yeah, that's what happened in my life.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your powerful story.
Thank you.
Well, what helps you deal with your condition?
Okay, I love this part. Okay, so what helps me is coffee in the morning, just to like wake me up, because it's a really strong medicine night for anxiety. Going back to what I went through. What helps is music helps me a lot. Definitely meds, 100%. Also just kind of like realizing that I work differently from most people. Like like my cousin can drink 5 cups of coffee, but like if I did that, I would probably have like an episode, or see things or go through things.
Right.
So definitely what helps is being honest with myself. Like, Ariana, like, you're at this party, there's a lot of people, your heart and your body's like anxious and like wants to go. And I feel like now I listen to that part of me, like, okay, I don't know why I'm feeling triggered, but something's saying like, you need to get out of here. So I listen to that part of me way more than anything else. And my mom says, like, listen to your intuition. Even with people and partners and stuff, I've learned what helps the most is kind of jumping into it, kind of like doing this, presentation, like jumping into it and being like, I can't live a different life if I consistently do the same things. So that's been a big part of my life the past couple months. Like, okay, you're going on a date, you haven't done this in a long time. Like, wear what you'd like, don't wear what you think people would like, And it's funny, it took like 31 years to realize, like, do what makes you happy. Like, you want to wear a shirt with like a unicorn, like, it's fine. Like, people like unicorns, But what helps also is a routine. I feel like when I get into depression and I don't want to do anything, I don't want to talk to people, I have like bullet points. Like, if you can get up and just take your antidepressants and just make a pot of coffee and just go back in bed and lay for 5 minutes and then do that, and it works. And I'll be like, Alexa, like, oh, she doesn't turn on. I'm like, Alexa, like, play positive pop music, and I'll start playing, or I'll start painting. So that is like I think that's more important than anything, because that actually like gets the root of what I'm going through. Yeah, so that's what helps.
Excellent. Excellent. And so what's next for you in terms of success, hopes, dreams? What's next?
Okay, so I have a couple. I started Instagram for my artwork, and I got 70 followers in 5 days. I was in Trader Joe's. Yeah, I was in Trader Joe's yesterday, and this girl was like, I saw your artwork, because I guess she follows me. She's like, it looks really amazing. So that's exciting. And
That is.
Yeah, and it's new, I'm trying to like realize, like, Erin, you're really important. But what's next? I have a couple of dreams. I also want to get back into social work, but we also do peer mentor for NAMI. So part of like a peer mentor kind of like position. I want to start having like my artwork in a gallery, like an art gallery, so it can be like seen and people don't have to buy it. I just think like sharing that piece of beauty that I feel like I transpired into my work would be really cool to be seen by people. I really want to live in Madrid for like a year. I really do. I also have a relationship, a very healthy one. And I'm so grateful because I'm able to express my boundaries and what I like and what I don't like. As for dreams and goals, I definitely want to I want to bring like my mom and my sister together. Like I feel like we have like there's so much like stuff going on in our family, and I just want them to like get along. And it's like, dude, like life goes by so fast, and like you don't want to wait till someone dies to show that you love them or that you care about them. So that's definitely something I really wish and hope. So yeah.
Aw, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You were so wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank you. I know you touched the hearts and minds of so many people watching, because it means something when you see someone who's like you, having issues just like you. And that makes your help that you just gave 100% more effective. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So now we're going to switch over to the next part of the show. And that's where we're all going to share our wisdom that we have learned to have good mental health, to help you so that you can have the best life possible. So we're going to hear from Clara, then we're going to hear from Ariana, and then I'm going to weigh in at the end. And that's how we're going to have our 21 pearls of wisdom for good mental health today. Okay, starting off with Clara.
Thanks, Lady Charmaine. And thanks, Ariana. It was great to hear your story.
Thank you.
And so the first thing that I will say in terms of mental health is something I've been thinking about a lot recently is the importance of paying attention to how people make you feel, and with how people respond if I ask for for something from them, or if I express a boundary. And Ariana, you sort of touched on this, the power of being able to say, you know, I like this or I don't like this, and have somebody really listen to that. And so for me, paying attention to that, to how people respond, is really important. Like on the one hand, I've seen this happen with people close to me, where they just feel off balance all the time in relationships, because the other person is constantly saying, well, why don't you do this? Not like, can you do this for me? But why don't you do this? What's wrong with you that you're not intuiting what I need, rather than asking like, can you do this thing that I need? And that makes them feel really off balance and really uncertain, and, you know, like they're always doing something wrong. And I know for me, like that doesn't feel good. And it can cause a lot of confusion and a lot of uncertainty. And so, you know, paying attention to when I feel that way, like if I feel like I can't do anything right, like, why is that? Because that's not who I am. Like, I know that I can do things right, and I care about people, and I try to do right by them. So if I'm feeling that way, then something's off. And then conversely, if, you know, paying attention to, if I say, you know, oh, can you please not do X, Y, and Z thing? Does the person respect that? And, you know, and that's definitely been a criteria that I've used with like whether to continue relationships in the past is, you know, do I know? And thankfully, like I've had people in my life where I know, like, as soon as I say, you know, oh, please don't do X thing around me or to me, and it stops. Just, I don't have to say it again. Maybe I like remind the person one more time because they forget or they slip up or whatever, but then I never have to have that conversation again. And that's really powerful. So that's kind of a long one, but just the importance of paying attention to how people make me feel and whether they respect my boundaries. Super important.
It's true.
Another thing that I would say is the importance of finding things that make me feel fed, and finding things that make me feel like I have energy coming in, not just energy going out. Because I think, you know, I mean, I'm some, like, I like to do things. I like to, you know, put energy out into the world, and like, that's great. But I also need to have energy coming back in, and paying attention to sort of that flow, to say, you know, that to making sure that it's a cycle rather than just like, you know, out, 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 out. So that's two. Another thing that I would say is definitely just kind of sort of related to what Ariana mentioned about routines. Sometimes like really small things can make a big difference. Like I know I was having a really hard time getting up in the morning, and especially, you know, during the pandemic and working from home and not really, you know, not feeling like I had to get out of bed or right away or have to, and that was making me feel really crappy. So what I started doing was I would set my my alarm to wake up in the morning on my phone, but I would leave my phone on the other side of the room so that I would have to get up to turn it off. And every night I would be like, oh no, like I'm just gonna put it by my bed. I don't wanna, like, I'll be fine. Like I can do it. And I finally had to be like, no, I can't. I need to have it on the other side of the room.
Wow.
And so I started doing that. So sometimes those little shifts can make a big difference. And something else that I would say is also just the importance of just understanding the difference between the feelings that can kind of come and go, and really like who I am deep down and what I want and what I need on like a deeper level. Because I definitely, like, especially if I'm really anxious, that fear, or even, you know, on the flip side, if I'm feeling really good, that kind of euphoria, or, you know, feeling really sad, like all of those feelings can be really loud. They're really like loud and hard to ignore. But sometimes, you know, my mom used to say that like you have to ignore, like, the loud voices they're just loud. They're just like being loud. They're not really, they're not necessarily telling you anything that, you know, if they're trying really hard to make you listen, then like you maybe don't need to pay such close attention. But like what you can pay attention to is that those smaller voices that say like, well, why don't you just keep doing that, you know, or like, oh, why, you know, what about this thing? What is it that you really need to be doing deep down? So I've been, I think, especially like during the pandemic, it's definitely, my anxiety has been just like so loud. And those voices that say, you know, not literal voices for me, but just that like internal thought process of like, well, you know, this is going to happen. This terrible thing is going to happen. This other terrible thing is going to happen. You know, it's very, very loud. And so just kind of not trying to push that away, but just kind of say like, okay, you're going, you know, and I'm going to acknowledge you, but I'm also not, I don't need to do anything about this.
Right.
So distinguishing that has been really powerful for me. And what are the last couple of things that I would say? Something that I also would add is that like sometimes just accomplishing something really small can like be really helpful. Like yesterday I was like, this whole week I've been feeling really, really anxious and stressed out and upset. And there was like something, just like a small kind of household task that, you know, I'd been meaning to do. And it was just very small. Like it wasn't even like, you know, clean the whole kitchen or do it was just like something, I was just emptying out something that I'd been like meaning to deal with. And I did it, and it was like really soothing to just finish something, to just like complete one small task and feel like, okay, I did this, it's done. It was easy, it wasn't complicated, it wasn't stressful, it wasn't high stakes. It just like was a little thing that I did, and now it's done. And, you know, I feel good. So sometimes that, can be really valuable. And the last thing I guess I would say is just oh, I had it and now I don't remember what it was. There was the last thing that I had. Oh, just like the importance of, it's kind of related to the first one, to the one I just said about like a small task, but being really finding something that like feels good with this, like sensorily good, like whether it's something that smells good or tastes good or feels good, just like a small positive sensory experience, and like really being present with that. Like I have herbs in my room, and sometimes, like especially in the morning, if I'm trying to like wake up, I'll just like rub them and like smell it, and smell the sage or smell the basil, and just like have that like, and then be like really present with that. And that also definitely is very grounding. So I like doing that a lot. So that's my seven wisdom points. And I hope that any one of those resonates with anyone who's listening.
Well, I tell you, Clara, they resonated with me. All that work you've been doing internally and working yourself out and getting everything to the next level is so deep and helpful, and it was insightful that I know it helped me, and it's helping the watching audience as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clara. And now we're going to hear from Ariana.
Before I start, I wanted to touch upon what you said about like smelling things in the morning when you wake up. I was in Trader Joe's, and this like amazing person was like, "Oh, what scent do you like?" And he's like, "Put it in your hand and then like breathe in it." And he says your mind takes like a moment to like reset, or to just like be still for a moment. So I've been doing that. So I definitely want to say that was really good.
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote it in my journal. Okay, so 7 pearls of wisdom. First one is positive affirmations. I wrote that because sometimes people around us that can bring us down or can judge us or make us just feel like we're not worthy of love or worthy of just honesty or just real human, communication.
Mm-hmm.
So positive affirmation actually really helps me, especially like living in a house where someone's like, putting you down or doesn't understand what you go through. So they project their fears, they don't really hate you. It's just, they don't understand how to like handle their emotions. And I learned that probably about this year. So I do, I say things like, "I love you, Ariana," or like, "You're beautiful, you're amazing." Like my partner makes jokes about me being a coffee queen. I only drink 1 cup of coffee, but it's just really funny just to like see how people who impact me in a positive way, how that can just feel really good. So even if they do positive affirmations to me, it just feels really good. The second one is intimacy with oneself. And I wrote taking myself on dates or like rose petal baths. I feel like sometimes I feel pulled to answer text messages or people, or just being just a lot of and I just say like people needing your energy or needing your time. And I feel like sometimes I can feel very drained after that. So I try to like, I like candles a lot in my room. Smells really important. And just like coming back to myself, my body, because, she's the only person I have, I gotta, make sure she's okay. The third one is meditation meditation with music, and letting the sound and words fill my soul. I noticed I listen to like a lot of different music that kind of contribute to different feelings. So I listen to like Linkin Park or Cher or like Taylor Swift, and I like to have like an eclectic view of the music I listen to, because I want to like feel every emotion and not shame them or think this is bad. Like if all of a sudden like Marilyn Manson comes on, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go through this right now. We're gonna hear this death metal, and it's just like I challenge myself to be able to open up to all these different emotions so that when they kind of like come to me, I'm able to just let it flow, like music, like, okay, like this is happening, or like, my family's being very mentally abusive and I just like, okay, this is like very toxic and like that has nothing to do with me. That really sucks that that's happening, but there's nothing to do with me. So it's like training myself like with different emotions. I don't know if that makes sense.
It
Um,
does.
okay, cool. My next one is having the courage to say no. Um,
Mm,
I feel like even with friends or people that sometimes I feel like I spread myself a little thin. Like I'm always up to like hang with people or do something or talk on the phone or FaceTime. And recently I've just been almost like I can't do this. I just can't do this right now. I'm like meditating or I need to take a nap. Like I need to recharge. So in like partners, like I'm with someone right now and I keep saying it's like really healthy because even everything that we do, we always ask like, are you okay? Like, how do you feel? Like checking in like every second. Um, and it's new and it's nice and it's like, wow, like this can happen. Or throughout my whole life, like when I would say no, it's like, what are you doing? Like, are you meditating? That's not important. Like go clean the dishes, go do this. And so I've been saying things like, no, like I'll do that in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. My next one is having faith. I praying in gratitude for myself. Um, when I didn't have anybody in my life who supported me or loved me, and it wasn't their fault, I started praying. And this was about maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Um, I was like, hey man, like if you're real up there, like I'm gonna just tell you everything because I don't know who to talk to, and just being like very like naked with it, like just like with like the words. And I don't mean like physically. I just mean like if other people like that, it's okay. But what I mean is like just feeling kind of naked with like your words and how I feel and being able to go to bed at night and just be like, hey, like I really appreciate this, what you did for me. And also I'm so confused about life. And I just hope that you throw me some like angel feathers. When I see feathers, when I, when I see feathers a lot, for me, I know angels are around. For me, that's just, things that I believe. And it's funny because I'll be like really, really anxious. Because I still get, butterflies when I'm doing certain things. And I'll just see like a feather just like floating by, like a white one. I'm just like, okay, dude, like you guys are here. Okay.
oh,
Like like my army of like of like protection and love and amazingness is like around me. So most of my life, I'd say like as I got older. Um, so yeah, and just like gratitude because I was in a place where I was in mental hospitals like for 7 years in a row. And every time I went there, I came out with a new profound knowledge of myself and how my mind works. Um, so I pray a lot, but from like a pure heart. I'm not like I need $1 million, God. I just more of like, send me what's like meant to be my way or what's meant for me and take away that's what's not for me. So my next one is listening to my inner child. She went through a lot, as I was talking before. Um, so sometimes she's just like, like make some coffee, but like dance to like Shake It Off by Taylor Swift, which I happened to do like 2 days ago. And maybe like walk down the tree path and like get a flower or like, be really silly with your partner or friends or just bring that innocence out that wasn't able to come out when you were younger, like let her come out now. It's time for her. And my last one is know that every day is a new day to start. Um, Definitely battle with depression. I sometimes the days just kind of mesh together and there's no time or space or anything. So sometimes where I'm just like, okay, Ariana, just like do your routine. And if I do it, I'm just like, wow, like I'm proud of you, Ariana, for like going through and feeling these emotions deeply and acknowledging them. But like, let's do something for you and like, let's have fun with it. So those are my 7 pearls of wisdom.
all right. Yay! I tell you, both you and Clara with internal and deep. Very, very good. I love them. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Of course.
Thank you. I know it helped me and it helped someone watching as well. So thank you so much for taking the time out and letting us hear from your heart.
That's
Thank,
beautiful.
I
thank.
would love to respond to one of those if that's okay.
Okay, hold on. Yes.
I just wanted to respond to, you mentioned Ariana, the kind of like training yourself to like feel a full range of emotions, like through like music and just, kind of being present with those feelings and like allowing yourself to feel a full range of feelings. And I just wanted to say that something that I remember reading that like I found really powerful was like was thinking of about the what each emotion can like bring you, even like emotions that like we associate with as like being really negative. Like if I'm feeling jealous, I might say, well, this is telling me that I have a dream or a desire. Like I have a desire that's not being fulfilled because, I'm jealous because I see somebody else having something. And that is telling me that maybe I want something like that. And that's like, that's a gift that this emotion is giving me. Or, if I'm feeling angry, that's telling me that, one of my boundaries has been trampled on or like breached in some way. And so I can, be grateful to that emotion for telling me that, and for, telling me that I have to, set a stricter boundary. So I don't know. I wanted to add that to just like thinking about emotions as providing information and providing perspective, and being grateful for those emotions, even when they feel really negative. If I'm feeling, really drained and tired, maybe that's telling me that I need to rest, and I can be grateful that my body and my brain are asking me to rest, and like I can acknowledge that and appreciate that communication. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to say that where was I going with this? Oh, so a couple years ago, and I'll make this really fast. A lot of like negative stuff was coming up in my life that I had to face, and I was really scared, and I was really scared of like making mistakes or like sinning and stuff like that in my head. And then when I started realizing, like, you know what, like just let it flow. If it's anger or jealousy or just like, let it flow. And yeah, it helps like a lot. I don't know, just like it helped, like when I be put into a position where someone's like, rude to me or cursing at me, I'm like, okay, like I know this emotion. Like they're probably feeling because they probably didn't drink water today or they didn't like eat right now. So it's like not just working for me, but also working to like understand like why are people the way they are or how they treat me. So yeah, I just wanted to add that in.
All right. Well, I tell you, those are some deep pearls, and I'm just going to add my few to the list. My pearl number one is to love and like yourself. Love and like you. And if you don't love and like you, to start today, picking some body parts, start small with loving and liking you if you don't already. But the key point is the most important person in the world is you. And you got to love and like you and take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself means exercising. It means drinking water on hot days and cool days. It means loving you enough to say, I need to move myself away from negative and draining people. It means taking care that you get enough sleep and rest, and that you're taking time out for yourself so that you can get a good life. Also, practice forgiveness is pearl number two. Those people who have done those wrong things to you, forgive them. Forgive them because God has forgiven you of your sins. So when you forgive others, you allow yourself to have peace. You allow yourself to have more love into your heart. And you allow yourself to have more understanding that is something higher out there watching over you and that's in control and will take care of the whole situation. Also, like Ariana said about the inner child, I say keep the kid in you alive. It's very important that you nurture your inner child and keep the kid in you alive because childlike faith is what's getting us into heaven. And by keeping your kid in you alive, you can guarantee that you're going to heaven because your childlike wonder, your childlike faith, your childlike belief allows you to see God in a new way. Also, be a good child of God. It's my pearl number 5. Be a good child of God. You know, most people don't know about God except for how they interact with you. So if you are a loving and kind person, they start to think that God is a loving and kind person as well. So since you are a child of God, be the best representation on the planet for God. 6, make a habit of eating right and exercising. Exercising so that you can have a good temple, and eating so you have the right foods to take care of your body, which is the temple of God. And my last two things are surround yourself with positive people. People who are uplifting and kind and loving and nurturing of you and supportive of you and what you want to do is what you should have in your inner circle. Not negative, draining, nasty people. No, 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 no. Get those people out the circle. And lastly, make your home your own heaven on earth. It's your place to be at home, at peace. It should be tranquil, beautiful, the way you like it, with colors that make you happy, with things that make you smile, because that's the place you spend most time and that's the place you meet God. So make it your own heaven on earth. So those are my 7 pearls of wisdom. Adding to the mix. So we had 21 pearls of wisdom for good mental health from Clara, Ariana, and me. I hope this helped you have a better day today. And also, before the show ends, because we're coming close to the end now, I wanted to remind you to get my autographed set of 3 books: My Testimony and Size 7.5, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, the follow up in Heed Simple, which I talk about what happens once I hit the lowest point of my life, and then the best, and then the wisdom. I shared some of it with you today, but I have a whole book of wisdom that helps you talk about healthy lifestyle, loving romance, self-help, self-growth, peace of mind, personal growth, and happiness. And you can get these books on my website. Also, please show your support of Ariana and Clara. Visit their social URLs if they want to give them out. And so let me give them the opportunity to give their social URLs, starting with Clara.
So I don't have social handles myself, but I'm going to share the NAMI NYC ones. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under NAMI NYC-Metro. And you can also go to our website, as I said, with NAMI at naminyc.org.
Okay, and if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how can they personally reach you, Clara?
They can reach out to me at CKIELY at naminyc.org.
Thank you, Clara. All right. And now we're going to turn it over to Ariana.
Okay, so I have 2 accounts on Instagram, but I want to give you my newest one with my artwork. So it is lavender, like the color purple, rose, like the flower, and 404. So it's lavender rose 404.
Nice. Okay. And that's where we can see your pictures and everything?
Yeah, it's mostly my artwork, and like my actual Instagram is just like a lot of like memes and like joking things. So I wanted more focus to be on like my art and these things I create. Just I feel like people can understand me a lot deeper in that way, I feel, rather than just like pictures of myself and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, definitely, Taboo Talk with Watcher, please show your support and visit the URLs that Ariana and Clara shared with you today. They will be helpful and there will be wonderful places to visit. And you are wonderful and you are special. That's why Ariana and Clara came today to share with you wisdom, knowledge, and help to help you have the best life possible because you deserve it. You're precious, you're special, and you're wonderful. And you deserve nothing less than the very best that God is offering you. Continue seeking God's face in all that you do, and a wonderful life will occur for you. Taboo Talk podcasts exist to help you excel and live your best life possible. I promise you, I will continue to get subject matter experts like Clara and Ariana to keep coming on the show to uplift you, to guide you, and to take you to that next level like they did today. I encourage you to rewind this tape, write down those pearls, and get the help that you need because it was here for you today. Well, until next time, take care of yourself, stay special. Goodbye.